Hi, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. My name is Susan, and I'm the founder of my father's business healing ministry. And today, I am so excited to welcome my guests, Kaylin and Reese, to the podcast. They're here to share with us their amazing healing testimonies. So, welcome, Kaylin and Reese, and thank you so much for being here. We're so excited to hear from you.
Thanks for having us.
I'm so happy to share with the world what the Lord has done in your lives. And Kaylin, I met you, I think almost a year ago now, right?
I guess it was almost a year because it was middle or end of February. I wish I had.
Okay. I couldn't remember.
No, I feel like I need to have an anniversary date on my calendar.
I know, right? And so we met almost a year ago through a hairstylist that we both went to, which is
Mhm.
amazing. And she connected us, but during this time, your family was having a really hard time with illness. And could you share with us what was going on in your family regarding sickness during this time?
Sure. So there was quite a few things. The most difficult thing at that time being Reese. She was sick with Lyme disease. We had just kind of learned that it was Lyme disease, although I always thought that it was Lyme. I just didn't have an actual diagnosis for her because it's very difficult to diagnose. She had been bedridden already for a few months at this time when I had finally reached out to you, and just was so sick. I mean, horribly sick, in the worst pain I've ever seen, like, probably anybody be in. Like, couldn't move at all. It was really sad to see her like this. And so not just Reese had been sick, my oldest daughter had been sick with Lyme for years, probably like most of her life actually.
Wow.
But wasn't diagnosed until she was maybe 16 years old. And then when we went through the treatments, which were very difficult and lengthy, it took at least a year to get her kind of stable, I would say. I would look back and think, I'm pretty sure Reese has Lyme disease as well, but I never spoke it out loud just because I didn't want it to be a reality. So, with Lyme, as you know, because you've struggled with it yourself, it's like a roller coaster. It can come and go, and the symptoms are all over the place. So, you could be sick with it and then the symptoms can go back and be dormant. And so Reese had pain issues when she was younger, to the point where she was in a wheelchair. Actually, when she was in fourth grade, I think, right, Reese?
Yeah.
And I mean, nobody believed her. It was really difficult. We went through a lot, saw every doctor under the sun. And then eventually those symptoms went dormant, and she was better for a while. And then I guess freshman year of high school is when it all came back again, but really with vengeance, super bad. So she was not able to do anything. She ended up in our master bedroom on our bed for months because we couldn't even get her onto her bed because it was too high to get onto. And we had seen every doctor, tried everything that could think of. She couldn't even really tolerate medication, like antibiotics. It flared her up so bad that the doctors
Yes.
were like, don't even give this to her because she can't handle it. Like, her body cannot handle it.
So then they would just be like, we're just going to wait or something.
Well, you just were like doing a lot of detox. We just detoxed and
I had the
detoxed.
same exact situation. I had to take like a half of a pill, because I couldn't handle it either. Yeah.
Like pain medication, and then just like every kind of detox under the sun, and we did like a sauna blanket, anything we could do in our room at home, because that's all, like, I couldn't even
Right.
hardly get her out of the room. To even go to doctor's appointments was really difficult. So we were desperate for something. And Reese was in so much pain. I mean, she was like in tears. I think the day or the weekend before I had reached out to you, we were really desperate. So yeah, that's kind of now where we were before we met you, Susan.
Wow. And Reese, what was your life like being bedridden and in your parents' room, just laying there? and not being mobile or even be able to go to the restroom and back and just take a shower. I mean, those are simple luxuries that I'm sure feel a lot different now.
Yeah, it was super crazy, really embarrassing. I didn't want to see anyone at all because my mom literally had to pull me in the wheelchair to the bathroom, and I didn't want anyone seeing me like that. So it was super embarrassing, and I was never comfortable. I had constant pain. Like before I was actually bedridden, it was more off and on pain. It'd be really bad for a while, and then I'd just kind of lay in bed for a few days, and then it'd go back to normal, and I'd be okay to go to school for a few days, and then it's just like this off and on cycle. And then, but when I was actually bedridden and stuff, like suddenly it got really bad and I couldn't move. I was just uncomfortable all the time. And it wasn't even just like physically, it was mentally too. I was just so tired and couldn't keep my eyes open and couldn't hold a conversation with anyone. I felt like my brain didn't work. I
Yeah.
would try to work on school because I couldn't go to school and I couldn't work on school. I couldn't think. There was so much like brain fog, I feel like.
Yes. It
Mhm.
does affect your cognitive function.
Mhm.
So that's real for a lot of people.
Yeah.
That is so hard. And then what happened the day we spoke on the phone?
Mhm.
Maybe just explain what
Mhm.
happened that day.
So, well, I'll just start by saying that, Susan, we hadn't ever spoken until that phone call that day. I texted you because our hairstylist told us she was really sad knowing about how Reese was and said, well, I have this friend. Her name's Susan, and she actually suffered with Lyme disease for, I think, like 20 years and was bedridden, and she was healed. She just said that I needed to talk to you. And so I reached out to you because I would have reached out to anybody at this point. So I sent you a text message. We started texting then, and you said, would you like me to pray for your daughter? I was healed miraculously by Jesus Christ. And can I pray for Reese? And I said, yeah, please, absolutely. And then you said, can we have a phone call?
And that same day, I don't know if you remember this, we were going to either get blood tested or I was going to like a doctor's appointment.
Yeah.
I think my pain was like
the worst.
like a 10 that day. It was
Yes.
so bad.
Yeah.
I remember I was just crying so much because my mom was trying to try to pick me up to get me in the wheelchair to try to get me to go to the doctor's appointment.
Yeah, we couldn't. I couldn't even move you.
And I couldn't move. It was the worst pain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've been there.
We had a
Yep.
appointment.
And then just after that, you were like, I have someone that wants to pray for you.
Yeah. I came in the bedroom and I'm like, Reese, I have Susan on the phone and we're going to pray with her. And I mean, Reese was looking at me probably like, can you get out of here? I do not want to do this right. Just go away. I don't
Really?
feel well, And I just sat on the bed next to her, and we weren't on a video call or anything. I had you on speaker, Susan, and
because I've never heard of anything of people actually getting prayed for at this time. I've never heard of people prayed for and getting healed. So I was like, what are you talking about? Am I going to have to talk to someone right now? I don't really want to talk to anyone.
You prayed for Reese, and literally while you were praying, you asked her about her symptoms, and she told you how she was feeling, which was couldn't even move her legs an ounce. And as you prayed over her, you asked her to move her legs. And
well, but I also remember feeling, I don't know if you want to share this, but yeah. I also remember feeling this weird feeling go through kind of half of my body, and then I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, I want to hear about that, Reese. After we prayed, what were you feeling in your body?
Yeah, so right after I felt that weird I don't even know what it was.
Power.
Something go through my body. I was like, oh
Glory
my gosh.
God.
And then my mom or you were asking me, you were like, do you feel any, do your hips hurt? What's going on? And I was like, I don't think so. I was like, what's going on? And then you were like, you have to try walking. I know you can do it.
You first moved your legs. She first said, can you move your legs?
And I hadn't been able to do that.
At all.
My mom would literally have to pick up my leg to get me to move. I could not move my legs.
And she would groan and cry, just from moving her legs. That was the first thing you said. Can you feel any different? Why don't you try to move your legs? And I saw Reese's legs move under the blanket. The blanket was moving, which was a miracle in itself. And that's when you said, why don't you try to get up and walk? And Reese popped up, which was unheard of. She shouldn't have even been able to at this rate because she'd been sitting there for so long and didn't even have any strength and swung her legs over the bed and got up, right?
Yeah, and then I walked to the door, and then you guys were like, "Keep walking!" Like I was like, "Oh my gosh, I just walked to the door." And you guys were like, "Keep walking!" So I was like walking down the hall, and like I felt good. I mean, yeah,
It was a miracle. I mean,
A
just
total instant miracle.
instant miracle. Mhm.
So what happened after that? I know one of the big things was it was really hard for you to get down the stairs.
Mhm.
What happened after you could walk down the hall and you went down the stairs?
yeah.
Yeah, you went down the stairs and
Which
then
which must have felt surreal after being upstairs for months.
Mhm. And then you guys were asking me to do jumping jacks, and I was doing jumping jacks.
yeah.
Now
Yeah.
that is a miracle. There's no way you could have done jumping jacks. And also anyone that's in bed for 3 months, you get a significant amount of atrophy from not using your muscles.
Right, she shouldn't have been able to,
Even walking is so that you could have so much weakness from that, but here you are walking around.
Yeah,
That is incredible.
it is amazing. It is amazing. So we're
So you're pretty excited, and I'm sure you were all like, "This is."
everybody was kind of freaked out in our house, actually. So yeah, that's when.
And then I remember, and then I like was at the I was waiting at the door for my dad to get home from somewhere, and then he like saw me, and he was like, and then he came in, and he was like, I thought I saw a ghost or something. What did he say?
Yeah, I think he did. He was so startled and freaked out.
He was like, "What's going on?"
Yeah, he was like, "What is happening? What is going on?" Yeah,
It was a shock. It was an utter shock.
yeah,
Because you shouldn't be downstairs
Mhm.
at the door standing. This was not your MO at the time.
Right. After months of not being able to
And just
move.
being
Wow.
being in agony.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you have this joy and this excitement and just shock, like, oh my gosh, I can move. This is a miracle. And then what happened that night?
So then, that night I go to bed, and when I woke up, I was in that same place
You went
that
to
I
your
was.
room,
I
though.
went to my room, which was different. I didn't.
Big deal.
Yeah, I've been sleeping like in my mom's bed because that bed was lower to the ground, so that it was easier for me to get off and on. So I went to my room, and then I went to sleep, and then when I woke up, I was like felt the same as I did the last morning. I was just stuck, and I was like, oh my god. I feel like, well, I don't really know how to explain this, but I was like, oh my gosh, how was I walking yesterday? Does that make sense? I feel like this is what my pain usually is. Like, because I'd almost forgotten yesterday. I almost forgot. And then I was like, if this is how my pain usually is, I was like, how was I walking yesterday?
Exactly. When your body goes into a natural state of healing, you forget almost how bad it was. It's almost
I'm
like,
my head. This is so great. Was that all in my head?
Yeah.
right. It's almost like when a pregnant woman gives birth, she kind of forgets about all the pain because she has the baby. So it's kind of like, it wasn't too bad. So
Exactly.
then what happened after that?
Before her pain came back and she was feeling bad again, you said to us that, sometimes people will feel like they're sick again, or, their symptoms will creep back in, and that's the enemy. And that's not the sickness because you are healed.
Right.
And so, I mean, we hung on to that. And you said,
God.
I would recommend playing worship music in your house. Just play worship music all throughout your house and open your Bible or just have healing scriptures and repeat them and say them out loud and command the enemy out and command the spirit of affliction away. And that's what we did. We just kept doing that. And I think I did talk to you a couple times after or during this whole process.
Before that, I was also thinking, because this was another moment that I was like, oh my gosh, like, was yesterday a dream, or like, was I making my pain, like, you know what I mean? I was like,
Yes.
so
Was it psychosomatic, right? Was it psychosomatic?
Yeah. And so I tried to get out of my bed or whatever after you guys were saying, no, this is the enemy and stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get out of my bed. I am healed. And I literally had to pick up my legs. And I remember literally falling. I could not walk. And I was thinking, I literally couldn't walk because my pain was so bad. I was just falling to the ground and I was like, what is happening? I was like so confused. And then, yeah, I was thinking I need to take my medicine again. And like, you know, I can't do this. Like, even if it is the enemy or whatever, like, this is impossible. I can't keep walking. My pain is so bad.
Right.
Yeah, you're frustrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just tried to give you space that I thought that you needed for your time to whatever it was. And when I would see you, then I just kind of like let her stay in her room. And then when I did see her, I would maybe just hop in and command the enemy out. And that's what I would do. And I would maybe remind you to play worship music. And I think that you had worship music going.
Yeah, I had worship music going like when you left my room, I just had worship music going the whole rest of the day. And I just like sat and I just knew God was sitting with me because he's like always with you and stuff. So I just knew like he was sitting with me and I just like imagined him next to me and I was just like, it's going to be okay. And I kind of just stared at the ceiling, like, you know, thinking about that all day. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a good thought to think about, that God is with me and it's going to be okay. That's a great thing to renew your mind with.
Yeah.
And then what happened? Because there's a time where all the symptoms left again, and you were completely healed like you were on day one. What was that process like for you? How long was that?
So the rest of the day was really hard. I wasn't trying to say anything out loud, like I'm still having pain. I was just trying to keep it all to myself. Like, so I was just kind of laying in my bed. And then when I would get up to try to walk, because I was like, I can walk to the bathroom or something. And I would just keep telling myself, I am healed. And I would just walk through the pain. It would take a really long time, but I would just walk through the pain. And then I was like, I went to bed like, oh my gosh, like what is going to happen tomorrow morning? And then I woke up and I didn't have pain again.
Oh my gosh. How many days was that from the day you were healed to then the symptoms just went away and never came back? Like a week or?
I feel like it was a couple days. I know you said maybe it was just a day, but
I feel like I remember like just pushing through it and then I just woke up and I was just like, feeling good.
So it was just a day or two? I thought for some reason I thought it was like a whole week.
I felt like it maybe was a whole week and Reese doesn't remember because I feel like it felt like forever for
I remember texting you like every day. I'm like, how's she doing?
Yeah. And I just was, would come in, pray, leave, come back, pray. And just
maybe it was a few days.
And just gave her.
Yeah, I think it was at least a few days, if not a week, but I could be wrong about that.
I think it was. And she would I could see her fighting. Like she would get up and she would push a walker. I mean, you were pushing the walker for a little while.
Did you see things like, were there things that you did where immediately you saw the symptoms leave, like start worshiping and the symptoms would leave, or commanded to go and you'd see the symptoms leave? Is there any time that you saw it leave when?
Sorry.
That's okay.
Worship music, I felt like that helped. Like I felt like that gave me strength. Like I was just imagining like, like this isn't my strength. This is God giving me strength and stuff. So I would just play worship music a lot. And I felt like that helped me.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. And did you see symptoms leave when you did that or lessen?
Yeah, when I would walk, I definitely noticed that symptoms would lessen if I was just playing it while I was trying to get through the hall.
Wow. That is incredible because you were really walking in faith. You were really walking in faith. You had the symptoms, but you knew you were healed. And the enemy kept trying to put it on you and just say, no, you're still sick. You're still sick. You're still sick. Yet you're like, thank you, God. Praise you, God. I'm healed. I mean, that just is like giving the devil two black eyes right there. I mean, it really is. Like he's like, great. I can't do anything about this. Like he couldn't pull the wool over your eyes because you refused to see anything but what he did. Mm-hmm. And that's it.
He was watching me and he was just getting tired of me. He was like,
totally.
Oh, I can't get to her.
Mm-hmm. I can't get to her. This is, and every time he tries, it's a little dig and it's humiliating. Like he just can't do it because you're too much of a believer. You believe, and he can't do anything about that.
Do you have your bracelets on that
just amazing.
So tell Susan your bracelets.
So while I was sick, like one of the things that I liked to do was make bracelets because I like couldn't do anything. I had a really hard time like even watching TV because I couldn't follow what was going on. So I'd make bracelets and stuff. And I found that there's this verse. I don't know what verse it is. I think it's a verse. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it says, God is within her, she will not fall. And I felt like that resonated with me mentally and then also physically. Like it was just a good reminder that God's with me. I won't fall because God's with me. Like it's not me, it's him. If that makes sense.
Right.
Physically, spiritually, everything. So you show her.
That's such a depth. That is beautiful.
There's like 2 of them.
And you had those when you were sick.
Yeah.
That is so beautiful. And you have such a maturity about you, Reese, because even a lot of people don't understand that, wait a minute, this is not my strength. This is God's strength. So I don't really have to worry about it. I don't have to try hard because he's the one that's doing it. So kind of takes it all, the pressure off of you to have to perform or try hard or pray enough or do enough because he's already done it. So to recognize that at your age is pretty amazing. Sometimes people don't realize that till later in life. They realize, oh, I actually don't have to earn this. I actually don't have to strive. He already did everything for me. So I just have to receive what he did. And that's where it's at.
Yeah. I think also what was really neat, and I still am just amazed by it, is how Reese felt so like confidently wrapped in the Lord's arms even while she was sick.
Amazing.
And like just she'll say, like we'll talk about it different times, like about when she was sick and things, and like she would say like she always felt like the Lord was with her. And it's interesting how when you're going through something really hard, I know some people feel further away from God.
Well, I had read a Bible story that was kind of talking about like how God's like with you or whatever, even when you don't feel him, like he's always with you. He promises to always be with you. So I feel like that was something that I would always remember. Like even though I can't feel him with me, I know he's here.
That's beautiful. And that is faith. And there's a lot of places in the Bible where prophets or the men and women of God, after you read a verse, it'll say, and God was with him. And God is with her, after many people in the Bible. And I remember that used to be something I clung to. I want to be like one of the people in the Bible that after you see my name, it says, and God is with her. So it's so funny that you mentioned that because I clung to that too. So that's really neat. How's your life changed now? And how's your faith now that you've been healed? How's your life different? And what's your faith like now?
Well, my life's completely different because I got my life back.
Your life back.
I'm like grateful that I got to go through that because it definitely grew my relationship with God. Like I feel like knowing that he was with me throughout that time, he can take care of something that big for me. I know he can do that with everything in my life. Like I always know that, he's with me and he can take care of everything for me.
Okay, I just love this. That's my favorite sentence I think you said the whole time. That you saw him move in such a big way on your behalf that now your confidence in him is like, he can do anything, right? Like he can do anything for me. And that is such a childlike, beautiful thing. It's kind of like little kids with their parents like, Daddy can fix anything. My dad can help me. And my mom she's totally going to help me. And you know what? He loves that. That is like his calling card. Okay. That is like when you approach him that way, he's like, oh, I'm going to do it. I can't resist. I can't resist a heart like that. And so that is just precious. I love that. That is so beautiful. And so your life's totally different and your faith is even stronger than before.
Yeah.
And what do you want to say to those who are going through long-term illness and they feel like the more time goes by, the less chance it is they're going to get healed, or the more time goes by, the less hope that they have, and the medical community doesn't offer any hope? What would you want to say to someone like that?
Well, God can do anything, no matter how like long of a period of time it is. I mean, I was bedridden for I don't even know how long, just like
4 months.
Like 4 months. That's crazy. And he can handle all of that. Like he can pick me back up and put me on my feet after 4 months. Like he can handle anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He can do anything.
And that you really have to have your faith in him and trust him and just really hold on to that. That's all that you need, is to believe that you will be healed and that you are healed,
That
by
you
him,
are healed.
right? Because he has already done it. He's already
It's already
paid the
done.
price. And
Amen. That's so good. And I didn't want to end this podcast either without Kaylin, you saying what happened for you, because this is kind of like a family deal. Your
yeah,
whole family got like an overhaul,
yeah, right.
and you had some stuff going on too that you got delivered from.
Yeah. So I actually called you back after Reese was healed. And I said to you, Susan, this is going to sound crazy. And my husband actually told me I had been struggling with depression myself for, I think, like 7 years, pretty bad depression. And I was having really bad back pain too, that just kind of came out of nowhere, and had been struggling with that for a while. And I said to my husband after Reese was healed, and everybody in our home knew what had happened, I was like, well, maybe I can call Susan and ask her to pray for me too. And he was like, no, you can't, you don't want to take away Reese's miracle. Like, we can't
She
use
doesn't
up,
work that way.
like, right. Anyway, I called you and
Good.
talked to you about it. And sorry, I have all
It's
these
okay.
alarms going off for
It's
pickups
okay.
for kids everywhere we need to be. Otherwise, I forget. So I called you and told you what I had been going through, and you prayed with me also. And then, I mean, instantly my back pain was gone, and instantly, and it never came back. And
Thank God.
yeah, it's amazing. I mean, we were just like, God was
Oh my
just like
gosh.
flooding these miracles in our home.
So
Um,
amazing.
You
depre-
handle it all.
yeah,
So
That's
depression is
right.
a little bit different to be able to know, is my depression gone now? But it was actually lifted. I had been
Wow.
taking antidepressants for years and had slowly been weaning myself off. I didn't just like go cold turkey in that moment.
Right.
I
I'm
was
glad you
already
mentioned that.
Yes, I was already down to like the absolute lowest dose that I could possibly be taking. And anytime I would try to go off it completely, my body just couldn't handle it.
Wow.
I could not go off the medication. And so I was kind of just stuck thinking, this is just how my life is going to be. I just am going to have to always take this medication, even though I didn't want to. And it kind of took away from me being like fully myself. I felt like I wasn't
Yes.
always who I wasn't me. And there's nothing wrong with taking the medication if you need it, but
Right.
I
Right.
wanted healed. And because I was on such a low dose, I stopped taking it the next morning because I could.
Because you
Um
could.
and I never went back on it, and my depression has been lifted, completely lifted.
Oh
So,
my God. I mean, that is so
yeah,
incredible.
no, so I'm so grateful for everything. So,
That is amazing. And now you're just so busy being
yeah.
normal. You're busy
Yeah, yeah.
being normal and
It was
just running around like a normal kid and busy family, doing
Mhm.
things, vacationing, going places that you haven't been able to do before.
Mhm.
That's really fun.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I love the busy, chaotic life that we get to live right now. I mean, we're so grateful every day for the chaos, because
Yes.
we get to run in it.
Where, before everybody knew you're always at home.
Yeah.
I know the situation. Everyone knows that you're at home. Everyone knows you're in bed. Everyone knows you're too sick to do something.
Mhm.
And you just have that lifestyle because you're just in survival mode trying to get through it. And now
Yeah.
you're thriving. And especially Reese, like, how's this going to impact the rest of your life? Do you feel like it's leading you in a certain direction in what you want to do for the future?
Yeah. Well, you wanna share it with people. I
yeah.
mean, we've been wanting, I guess, to share about it so that other people know that they can have this too.
They can
But
have this too. I
yeah,
love that.
I guess we haven't shared a whole lot about it. So I'm grateful to get to
Well, you
do
are
it.
now.
It's a little funny because you have fear sometimes that people are going to tell you you're crazy, because we have experienced that, within our own families even. And that's hard and frustrating that not everyone can, uh, you know,
Receive it.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
So,
because we live in a very westernized culture, which is everything is relegated to reason and logic and science. And we
Right.
kind of elevate that to idolatry levels, honestly, that everything can be explained away and everything is science. And who's the creator of science? Oh, I don't
Yeah.
know. God. So it's
Yeah.
like, it's beautiful. Your story is beautiful. It's like the before and after. It's nothing short of miraculous, your stories.
No, it's all miracles and it's all God. So
And I
we're
don't
so
know if you went back to the doctor. When I went back, my doctor said, I don't have any scientific explanation for this. And he
Mhm.
just shook his head because he didn't know what else to say. And he's like, I'm taking you off all your meds. And that was it.
Mhm.
That was the end of Lyme disease. Did you guys go back to the doctor?
Well, I knew that was the situation for you. And so I was a little concerned about just taking Reese off of all of her medications, but I mean, you told us and I know and we believed, she was healed. And I think like having that kind of faith really helped with it.
Yeah. And I
And
would
not like
never tell
doubting.
anybody, go off your
Right.
medication. It
Right.
has to be either a conviction of the person
Yeah.
or the doctor. I would never
Absolutely.
want to do that with people and just say, oh, yeah, just go off it. And then,
Right.
then they could have some issues if they're not healed.
Mhm.
So you got to be
Mhm.
careful with that. I
Yeah.
never tell people go off your medication.
We felt like it was the right thing to
Yeah.
do. And then we called her doctor actually, and we canceled all of her upcoming appointments and
Wow.
we told them what had happened. I told her she was healed, miraculously by Jesus Christ. She was healed.
Wow.
And a couple of them were like, we've heard this happen to other people, like that's amazing. We're so grateful for you. And that was that. So she stopped taking all of her medicine and we haven't looked back.
Wow.
So
That
this
is
year,
incredible. And I love
this year,
that they shared with you they heard of that happening
yeah.
with other
Hmm.
patients. Like, when do you hear that from a doctor's office?
I know. It was really neat to hear that. So
That is so
yeah.
great.
Hmm.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing this story. I know that people who are suffering is going to get so much hope out of this and comfort and belief that their lives can be changed too. God is not a respecter of persons, the Bible says. So what he does for one, he does for another. And a lot of people just watching this testimony, I believe, are going to get healed just watching the testimony, because just hearing it, people, their faith rises and miracles happen that way. Literally just hearing the testimony. It says in the Bible in Revelation that the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. So that means that when you share a testimony, he wants to do it again in someone else's life. So just hearing it, faith comes by hearing, and people get healed just hearing other people's story of getting healed. And then they think, wow, if they can get healed, why can't I be healed?
Hmm.
And
And
Jesus is like, let me at it. I want to do it.
Mhm.
So
Well,
thank you so much for sharing this. And thank you, everybody, for watching. I hope this just encouraged everyone today. And I'm so happy to know you both. And I'm so proud of you, Reese, for fighting and
Thank
just
you.
sticking with it. And you came out victorious through Jesus Christ. And I'm so proud of you. You've no
thank
idea. I'm so proud of you. And I'm
we're
proud of
so
you too, Mom, because you stuck with her too and just kept commanding it to go away. You guys have such a beautiful family of faith. Just happy to know you guys.
we're so grateful to know you. And I mean, this, he worked through you. So we are really grateful for that.
And he's going to work through you too. That's how it goes, round and round, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you so much. And thank you for everyone watching. And just thank you.